One question. What if you miss?
I won't. Oh no, I totally did! Why did I think I could possibly predict where a Covenant ship was gonna be almost a full minute in? What just happened? Ha! That was such a stupid intro. So, following the release of my last video, original Halo storyboard artist Lee Wilson was kind enough to Oh no! Lee Wilson was kind enough to upload his hitherto unreleased Halo 2 storyboards to ArtStation. This caused a bit of a stir within the Halo community, which gave me the warm fuzzies since something I did with my life had meaning. I mean, nobody mentioned my role in their release, but that's... fine. It's not like I needed the promotion anyway, since in a little over a year, my last video managed to surpass 10,000 views all on its own, so, you know, it's practically viral. Anyway, here I am doing the same thing again, with Halo 2 boards this time. Once again, I have a few things to cover before we start. First of all, it's worth noting that these are not exactly traditional storyboards. Mr. Wilson even warned as much on my previous video. They're presented in a comic book format, meaning that frames are rarely at a 16:9 aspect ratio and sequential panels occasionally break the 180-degree rule. By and large, I still think it works well in animatic form, it's just going to look a little different from last time. Also, unlike the storyboards for the last game, which served as a snapshot of the game's story at a single point of development, these boards were being created, modified, and completely reworked throughout the development of the game. For the sake of organization, I've loosely grouped the storyboards into 3 stages, from earliest to latest in development. In reality, this was likely a continuing process throughout the game's production, but these 3 stages are the only timeline I can construct with any degree of certainty. The story was clearly in a great deal of flux throughout development, and as we progress through the narrative, things will begin deviating substantially from the version we know. Unfortunately, same as the first game, I don't actually have any pages from the original Halo 2 script.
This is 160 pages worth of cinematics.
Except, I kind of do. Yes, in likely the pinnacle of human desperation, I tried my hand at recovering the pages seen flipping through that very shot. The resolution is really bad, and only about a quarter of the text on any given page is legible, but Staten was kind enough to use standard screenplay formatting, meaning I can accurately predict how much text is missing and sometimes fill in the blanks with a fair degree of confidence. I mean, it's not much, but at least I have something. Except, if you could believe it, this script appears to describe a stage of development prior to what I labeled Stage 1. Stage 0, I guess. The partial scenes I've recovered do have analogs in the earliest boards, but they still play out quite differently and almost none of the dialogue is transferable. So that was pretty much useless. So it's the same deal as before, backwards audio for unknown character dialogue and context clues for subtitles. Pause if you care to read my pre- and post-scene notes. Time codes for each scene can be found in the description, and let us begin.
There was only one.
One? Are you sure?
Yes. The demon.
On my ultimate shot. How's Roedd the alphamoon shivers. This is another soul of yours sitting on this wheel. Why was it not destroyed with the rest of their fleet?
It fled. as we set fire to their planet. But I followed with all the ships in my command.
When you first saw Halo, were you blinded by its majesty?
Blinded?
Paralyzed? Dumbstruck?
No.
Yet the humans were able to evade your ships, land on the sacred ring, and desecrate it with their filthy footsteps.
Noble hierarchs, surely you understand that once the parasite attacked,
There will be order in this council. You were right to focus your attention on the Flood. But this demon, this Master Chief...
by the time I learned the demon's intent, there was nothing I could do.
You are one of our most treasured instruments. Long have you led your fleet with honor and distinction. But your inability to safeguard Halo was a colossal failure.
I will continue my campaign against the humans.
No, you will not. Soon the great journey shall begin. But when it does, the weight of your heresy will stay your feet, and you shall be left behind.
While that version of the scene ends with a cut to black, the next sequence starts with an updated transition to the second part of the cutscene. I'll rewind a little to give you the full effect.
Soon the great journey shall begin. But when it does, the weight of your heresy will stay your feet, and you shall be left behind.
The plating was about to fail. There's viscosity throughout the gel layer. Optics? Totally fried. And let's not even talk about the power supply. You know how expensive this gear is, son?
Tell that to the Covenant.
The next cutscene is our first Stage 1 sequence, and is one of the very few times such an early scene even lines up with one we recognize.
Ships have been arriving all morning. Nobody's saying much, but I'll bet something big's about to happen.
You told me there wouldn't be any cameras.
And you told me you were gonna wear something nice. Folks need heroes, Chief. Give them hope.
Thank you, mate.
So smile, would you? Well, we still got something to smile about.
Drawn quite a crowd. If they came to hear me beg, they will be disappointed. Are you sure?
Gentlemen, we're lucky to have you back. Go ahead, Cortana.
Another whisper, sir, near Io. We have probes en route. You look nice.
Thank you.
I apologize, but we're going to have to make this quick. Sergeant Major, the Colonial Cross is awarded for acts of singular daring and devotion for a soldier of the United Earth Space Corps.
There can be no greater heresy. Let him be an example for all who would break our covenant.
Commander Miranda Keyes, your father's actions were in keeping with the highest traditions of military service. His bravery in the face of impossible odds reflects great credit upon himself and the UNSC. The Navy has lost one of its best.
Slip space ruptures directly off our battle cluster. 15 Covenant capital ships holding position just outside the kill zone.
Negative, Admiral. Form a defensive perimeter around the cluster.
Sir, additional contacts. Boarding craft and lots of them.
They're going to try to take our MAC guns offline. Give their capital ships a straight shot at Earth. Commander, get to your ship. Link up with the fleet.
Yes, sir. I have worked well, Lobby. Never worked with Sveros Masawali. The Mama Il Kazgino.
Sir, fleet.
Master Chief, defend this station.
Yes, sir. I need a weapon.
Right this way.
Lee Wilson later created an updated version of this scene in Stage 2. Lord Hood is still wearing his cool cape, but the scene was otherwise pretty much finalized at this point, so I'm gonna skip it. People were only really interested in the scenes that significantly deviated from their final versions last time, which makes sense, so I'm skipping the storyboards that stick too close to their final counterparts. The next cutscene down the line is the outro to Cairo Station. We've long known that there was supposed to be a level between Cairo Station and Outskirts in which the Master Chief would board a Covenant ship and, with assistance from Miranda Keyes and a team of ODSTs, destroy it. The Halo 2 announcement trailer teases this cut level, and to avert false advertising, Bungie ultimately had the Master Chief bring a Covenant bomb along with him to destroy the carrier without ever having to board it. The storyboards for that version play out almost identically to the scene in the finished game, so I've decided to skip those in favor of the earlier version. The upcoming scene is a direct continuation of the scene advertised in the announcement trailer and would have been the introduction to the cut Covenant ship level.
Just one question. What if you miss?
I won't.
Next is a shorter, alternate variation of the same scene that was also included in Lee Wilson's upload. This next cutscene would have been the outro to the Covenant ship level, and transitions pretty seamlessly into the final version of Outskirts' intro.
Yes, Thomas, here a minute. Hey, do you scout? Is that at the wheel when they gun it? Earlier. And also at the wheel when they gun it. Alright, out to the you. Look. Let's get the dog Yahweh. You're what's the name of you?
Stick him with.
Yeah, right, you boy. You'll have to the wall order, Axel.
I'm bypassing the next two cutscenes since their storyboards play out almost exactly like their finished counterparts. The only noteworthy difference is that Johnston has his arm in a sling in the second cutscene, which is an injury he presumably sustained in the Pelican's crash in the first. He isn't wearing a sling in any of the subsequent storyboards though. So, let's move directly to the earliest outro to Metropolis, in which our heroes still chase down the Prophet of Regret in an otherwise very different scene.
Jag men det är mig. Du står lite.
Ja, så är det.
Perfect. Då, det dras.
Det dras till det var. Ja, för ni. Men jag vill bara patcha det något.
Då öppnas ni. Speciellt just då, det dras.
Glad to hear it. Now, bigger the bump. Snake it on. Force, yeah, step is just no running on it. Give me help. Fish the times of earth, no wolf. Severus, you're still in the shit, the shit. Now from the shimmer, go to the hell. Go sit again, but I know I go up the eyes, dog. And then when it's happy, I had to kill her. Make sure you take your names to all of them, sir.
That's safe.
Hey, no way. Get him. Oh, yeah. Thanks so much.
Spolet strax ut här, men det är för hårt som det är regionen.
Thanks so much. How's the wet?
Happy very color in the morning.
Over. Rush it like a...
Mind the bump.
Bam! Slip space rupture off the target's bow. It's going to jump.
Punch it. Get us close.
Ma'am, without a destination solution.
We are not losing that ship.
Next is an early introduction to the first Arbiter level. This scene actually begins with the player controlling his point of view.
Margedi! Abus ira hash dasnare. Size brashning on zero. In the yell, see the blouse, I know we're roasting. Marmot, sit there next to in the yell. Yo! The ships give me sväska. Noble prophets of truth and mercy.
You may leave, Tartarus.
But I thought...
And take your brutes with you. The council decided to have you hung by your entrails and your corpse paraded through the city. But ultimately, the terms of your execution are up to me.
I am already dead.
Indeed. Halo's destruction was your error, but the Council was overzealous. We know you are no heretic. This is the true face of heresy, one who would subvert our faith and incite rebellion against the High Council. This heretic, and those who follow him, must be silenced.
What use am I? I can no longer command ships, lead troops into battle.
Not as you are, no. But become the Arbiter, and you shall be set loose against this heresy with our blessing.
What of the Council?
The tasks you must undertake as the Arbiter are perilous, suicidal. You will die, as each Arbiter has before you.
What would you have your Arbiter do?
I got most of the way through the second part of this cutscene before I realized it was too close to the final version to serve much interest. Holjaw and Arby seem to share a nearly identical conversation as they travel to the Heretic's gas mine headquarters, so I'll just point out the interesting parts. First is this Covenant vessel called a command shuttle. I don't think this would have actually replaced the Phantom, since there are earlier storyboards featuring the final Phantom design. I think this larger dropship would have been specific to this mission. But I really like how it looks. It gives some serious Lich vibes. The Lich is probably my favorite 343 era Covenant design, and I'm wondering if they possibly used this model as reference. It even has this cute little ramp that opens to let all the coveys out. Whoosh. The second object of interest is this early Covenant carbine. What? Why did I animate that? Okay. The Covenant carbine actually maintained this design for a while, and appears in this form in earlier Stage 1 scenes, such as the one we're getting to next. This sequence is one of the earliest created, and features the Arbiter wearing a standard combat harness. And while his mission appears effectively identical, in this version the Heretics are not stationed on a gas mine over Threshold. The scene heading simply gives the location as Ruins of Alpha Halo - Control Room, but this wreckage would have been found on Threshold's largest moon, Basis. We've known for a while that, in the early days of Halo 2, the Heretics were stationed on this moon rather than the gas mine, and their presence in the remains of the First Ring's control room was confirmed in 2018, when 343 Industries livestreamed some early Halo 2 builds, revealing this level's working title and description. So, in this version, the Heretics are found on Basis amongst the pieces of Installation 04, and their leader within the control room. Apparently, some of this cut mission's assets were subsequently repurposed for the snowy quarantine zone level. This makes sense since, from the outside, Basis looks like a pretty icy place. It also looks an awful lot like a huge shift in Mars, but that's beside the point. And the Heretic faction still canonically had a Basis base, since one of their campsites serves as the battleground for the Halo 2 multiplayer map, Burial Mounds. But for some reason, Basis appears to have turned into an arid desert there. So, I don't know what's going on there, or why I'm even talking about it. Enjoy the cutscene!
Arbiter. Arbiter, I would rather die by your hand than let the prophets lead me to slaughter. Who has taught you these lies?
I wish I had lips, then I could whistle. Do you know this tune? It would be a real toe tapper if I had some. Catchy little ditty, isn't it? Makes you want to kill me, doesn't it?
The Oracle.
Oh, howdy, y'all. I am 343 Guilty Spark. I am the monitor of Installation 04. I would be happy to assist you.
Ask the Oracle about Halo. How they would sacrifice us all for nothing.
Oh, that looks like it hurts a lot. Oh, I'm getting bitch slapped. It's time for a blue light special, is it? Oh, that hurt. My feelings? Oh my god, I have feelings.
That is the Oracle. So it is. Come. We are leaving this system.
And that's all for now. I was originally planning to release all the animatics in one video, but Halo 2 has a lot of cut content. So I've divided the story into its 3 acts. I've already fully completed all the animatics for Act 2, which is where things start to go really nuts. But I plan to hold off on uploading it for a few weeks to give myself enough time to put the finishing touches on Act 3. So, subscribe if you care to see more. Also, be sure to smash that like button. This gun isn't even in Halo 2. Also, since these videos have been so highly dependent on Lee Wilson's artwork, Joe Staten's script, and Marty and Mikey's music, I've opted not to monetize them. It just feels gross. But I did start a Patreon since my throwaway joke at the end of the CE video seemed to resonate with some people, so you can give me money if you like. If you do, you'll gain access to all the Photoshop files I created for the production of this video. I have no idea why you'd want those, but I also don't know what else to offer you, so suggestions are appreciated. Anyway, I'll see you soon, and for now, I'll leave you with some pure, unadulterated cringe. You are one of our most treasured instruments. Long have you led your family. The council has decided to have you hung by your entrails and your corpse paraded through the city. Halo's destruction was your error, and you rightly bear the blame. But the council was overzealous. We know you are no heretic.
He was formidable, you know? Not to be trifled with, and a great guy.
This heretic, and those who follow him, must be silenced.